Hi guys, welcome to my kitchen. So you voted and you chose that we would do our video on fettuccine Alfredo. So today I am going to show you how to make that. So to get started with, 2 cups of heavy cream. I'm gonna go into your skillet and half a cup of lemon juice. Now you can also just kind of juice 1 lemon and call that good, regardless of how much that is. So lemon juice, heavy cream, and then we're going to do 12 tablespoons, which translates to a stick and a half of unsalted butter. And we're going to go ahead and get this started on a medium heat. And essentially what we're doing here is we're just going to let this cook until this butter is completely melted. Now, Alfredo sauce is amazing. And if you've never made it from scratch, I really encourage you to go ahead and try making it from scratch because it's nothing like the canned stuff. It's more like the experience you get when you go out to dinner and get Alfredo. It's that good, it's that yummy, and there's really very few ingredients in it. It is a little bit more costly because they are higher quality ingredients, and it also is a little bit more costly in terms of health consciousness because obviously it's not the healthiest meal out there. But it is really, really good. And if you need a good treat meal, a good Valentine's meal, this is your ticket right here. It's so good. So I'm just stirring this as I'm waiting for my butter to melt. I am going to turn it up a little bit. Now you'll notice when you're doing this step and you're stirring it and you're waiting for the butter to melt that just the lemon juice reacting with the heavy cream makes this kind of thick already. Like it's not super runny. It's already kind of thick, and that's just the lemon juice reacting with the heavy cream in there. You can also go ahead and use this step to start your seasoning. Now the reason that I say start is because you don't really want to salt it until after you've done the last step, which is putting the cheese in there, because since the cheese is going to be salty, we're using Parmesan. You could also use, you can basically use any hard Italian cheese. So you could use a Romano, you could use Asiago, anything that's hard and has that consistency like a Parmesan. But because that's a very salty cheese, you don't want to have it, you don't want to over salt it. So in my other little skillet here, I just have about a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons, of butter in here with some peeled shrimp. I'm using shrimp for this one because, to be honest, I like using shrimp with this better than I like using chicken. And the reason for that is because it is a lemony Alfredo sauce. So there are some Alfredos out there that just are kind of neutral in taste as far as they taste creamy, but they don't taste particularly lemony. This one, you really taste the lemon in it. So you do want to kind of pair your meat accordingly. Like it probably wouldn't be that great with beef. It is good with chicken, but I really prefer it with the shrimp because of that lemon. Now my butter is melted here, well, almost melted. I am going to go ahead and start my seasoning process. I'm going to start with some pepper and then a little bit of nutmeg. The nutmeg is my little secret here. Just a little bit. And then we're going to add in some lemon zest as well. The zest of 1 lemon, or approximately 2 teaspoons of zest, and just get that mixed in. You could also use white pepper if you wanted to, just to make it all approximately the same color. The reason I don't is because I just really do not like the taste of white pepper. And no, it's just me. I don't really like it, so I don't use it. And now that all of that is melted down, I'm going to start incorporating my cheese. Now I've got about 2 cups of Parmesan cheese here. And I'm going to just start mixing that in while it melts down. This was hand shredded by my husband lovingly. He suffered over that cheese, so you can thank him in the comments. But because it was hand shredded, it's melting in like really, really quickly, really softly. If you get the pre-shredded from the store, it might take a little bit longer to melt in there. It's just kind of the nature of the beast. And then I'm just going to top it off here. I do like to keep some available, a little bit extra to put just on top of my plate after I'm done. And also another really pretty way to present it is just with some fresh chopped parsley, which I don't have tonight, but it just adds that green little shiny thing on there, and that's really pretty. Now, at this point, I'm going to test it to see what my seasoning level is at. Okay, it's really good and lemony. It's almost there. It really doesn't need much. We're going to do a little bit more of all of our seasonings. Right away, you get that hit, that brightness from the lemon, and it's just so good. It's so, so good. This meal is so fattening, but it's so delicious. Like, if you ever want to impress somebody, make them this. They will be happy. Alright, and I'm going to let that sit there for a little bit to thicken up a bit. I have turned it off of the heat because if you just keep it on the heat, unless you add way too much cheese, it's not really going to thicken up to the consistency that you want. Now, just so that you know that this is a possibility, you did see that I did not use a roux for this. And usually, I would never use a roux for it. However, I did one time have an instance where I was trying to make this and I had run out of heavy cream, and so I had to use milk instead. I would never recommend that. It just kind of happened. We thought we had the heavy cream and we didn't have enough of it. So I made it and it just was not coming together right. It was not nearly thick enough. The flavor was there, it just wasn't thick enough. So in that instance, I did actually go ahead and just whip up a real quick roux on the side and then mixed it into it, and that fixed it. It basically made it just as if I had used the heavy cream. So the flavor was still there and everything. It was just the texture that was off. So if you have an instance where you need to use milk for health reasons or just because you couldn't find the heavy cream, you can do that. You just probably want to add a roux because the heavy cream is so much thicker. It has so much more substance than the milk would have. So at this point, I've got my noodles here, which are not, by the way, actual fettuccine noodles. I've already cooked these, and I'm just going to go ahead and toss them in the sauce. You can see it is still a little bit thin as far as the sauce is concerned, but that is going to thicken up as I let it sit here for a minute. And usually when I'm making this, I've got so many other things going on, like I'm trying to get asparagus ready and everything and get everybody's plates ready. So by the time I've got it ready to plate up, it's nice and thick. But if you're not happy with the thickness, you can always use that roux tip. So we're just gonna put our shrimp on top of there as well. And then once I grab the cheese that my husband just put away, we'll put some more grated cheese on top of that also. and that is gonna be our dinner, and that's delicious and quick and easy. You didn't have to go away. So really the thing that takes the longest in all of that is just waiting for the noodles. So hopefully you enjoyed this, and if you did, please leave me a comment, and if you make it, please let me know. Bye-bye. Welcome back already. So as soon as Nathan turned off the camera and put it down, I looked over at my station and I realized I forgot something. So this is half a cup of heavy cream. Obviously we already did that heavy cream, but the reason that this is reserved the way it is in case the sauce gets a little bit too thick, then you just go ahead and mix that in after you've put your noodles in. I conveniently forgot to tell you that. So, excuse me, the actual amount of heavy cream that you should have when you're doing this recipe is 2.5 cups, but you're only putting the 2 cups in when you start it. So that's why I had them in 2 separate little containers like that, but then I promptly forgot. So the extra heavy cream at the end, that extra half cup of heavy cream, is to put in after you've put your noodles in. If it's a little bit too thick, a little bit too gloopy, then you put that in to thin it out a little bit. So that is now the end of the recipe.